In three, two, one. Let's do this thing. Hi, everybody. Welcome to my new podcast, 1 Year. I'd like to introduce myself. You can call me Tom, Kona, Konavus, whatever you really want to. Um, I am a 21-year-old engineering student that part-time streams, depending on how you know me or where you've seen me. And I'm starting this podcast called 1 Year to focus on spending this year, 2023, to better myself and work towards achieving a lot of goals that I have and have set for myself and have for a while, but haven't had the opportunity to achieve them. And the reason that this podcast is called 1 Year is because I'm making the promise to myself that every day this year I will work towards those goals every single day. So to back up a little bit, to kind of explain where this whole sense of me wanting to make this year be such a profound and exploratory year for myself. 2022 was a rough year for myself. I struggled a lot in achieving goals that I had set for myself, and I found myself failing in a lot of avenues: school, content, personal relationships with friends and family. And I want to spend this year rebuilding that and even taking it a step further than how it was before. And I want to preface the whole of this podcast by saying that this isn't for you guys, for the people watching, for the people listening, however you're consuming this piece of content. It's not for you guys. This is for me and only for me. Almost like a personal journal to my growth and what I want to get accomplished this year. So you guys are very welcome to listen and take whatever I say and apply it to your own lives. But remember, I'm not making it to cater for the audience, for the people listening, and I never will. This is for me and for me only. And the three regions that I expect myself and am promising myself to work on are personal growth, business, and school. And I'll dive into those three different spaces individually throughout every single podcast and every single recording. It will be almost compartmentalized with how this show and how everything that I'm going to do with this is run into those three sections: personal growth, business growth, and school growth. This podcast will be done weekly to kind of express what I've learned from the past week and what I've taken and applied to myself, and what possibly you guys could or myself later down along in life or in whatever problems I'm dealing with. I can come back to this and hear and see myself as I probably am right now along the line to say, hey, what happened here? How can I get back to that? What did I do? Very specific way of journaling how I expect to grow myself this year. And some people close to me may have already seen me do that, may have noticed that I'm spending this year. And that's not just this semester, which for depending on where you go to school or where you go to university, it's for me it's January to April. But that's not how this is gonna go about. It is one whole year from 1st of January 2023 to December 31st, 2023. I will spend every day of 2023 working as hard as I physically can, and even more if needs be. But I will be focusing on those three areas, and optimizing, doing whatever I can, and I'll be sharing my methods and strategies that I've spent the past week working on, because it's a weekly podcast, weekly journal, and explain what I've learned, how I could apply it to different of those 3 different areas, and see the growth, see what happens, and give updates on what I'm working on and how I'm feeling. We'll see how it goes. But another important aspect is that this is only going to be available to people and to anyone listening for 1 year. Kind of the concept of the name. 1 year. It's available on Spotify, wherever else I am physically able to put this out, I'll put it out. But it's only going to be available for 1 year and 1 year only. So I'll have it for myself. This is my journal. But I want to emphasize that point of it only being available for 1 year for the reason that I found myself a lot last year pushing stuff to next week, next month, tomorrow, whatever it is. But the fact that this is only available for 1 year produces that state and that concept that time is finite and you only get this opportunity now. And if you wait too long, you won't get that opportunity and you won't be able to apply it. So if anyone listening, this is a direct kind of smack in the face that if something's going on, you're not feeling as well as you want to, or not achieving what you want to achieve, come with me. Let's start our journey together. I'm fresh. I'm a fresh newborn baby into the world. I'm 21 years old. I have barely any experience outside of school. But I know that some of the people and everyone in the world is suffering to some extent in whatever they're doing. So let's do it together. Let's suffer together. Let's figure stuff out. I am not here as kind of like a guru to some extent. Like, I'm a kid, but I want to achieve stuff. I want to achieve certain goals, and that's my plan. So you'll see me from the start to hopefully what I think is the top. And anything and everything I do will be said here for this 1 year. And who knows, if shit goes right and 2 years, next year, stuff's going well, we'll do it again. But all this content, this video right now won't be available for people in the future. It's just for now. So yeah, that's kind of an intro to me, an intro to what I want to do with this, because I know that talking and talking out loud is a really good way of getting shit done. And I'm sorry if I use offensive language. I'm going to speak how I want to speak. And yeah, I'm excited for this. Like, I have notes on my screen here, so if you ever see me kind of look over to the left, it's because I'm peeking over at notes, how I have the podcast set up and what I've journaled for the past week and what I want to add into the podcast. So everything I have technical and points I want to hit are here, but this is mostly off the cuff. And if later on people want whatever I'm using, I'll make everything and anything I'm doing available. I don't want to be a weird kind of hidden secret. If I'm going along a path of growth, I'm not going to be a fucking guru. I'm not going to be one of those teachers, those preachers. I am a human. See me as a human. And I'm only day one in this. And that's a point that I want to stay with for as long as I can. I'm always at day one. I'm never at day two, because day two is just too hard to get to. So stay at day one. You are learning to the day you die. And I will be. I'm not going to be better than anybody just because I've spent more time. People can spend that time as well, and I get there too. But yeah, I think we're ready to get this started. So in terms of those 3 areas, we'll start with personal, because those are kind of the personal is the area that most people can really apply to their lives. It is unanimous in every situation. Everyone's dealing with their personal struggles and trying to find ways to overcome them. And there's a lot of different techniques that you can do. And I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna get vulnerable on this podcast, and I'm gonna get vulnerable to you people, so that you can really know that I'm not bullshitting you what I'm doing and what I'm feeling and how I am getting anything done. I'm also not going to edit this, so this is, as I said, off the cuff, and I'm not changing anything. This is me, and I want to make it as real as possible. There's no added music. There's nothing. This is as dead as it can get, and it's going to be as long and strong as I want it to be. That's another thing. This podcast could be 15 minutes. It could be 10 minutes. It could be an hour, 2 hours. I have 4 hours blocked out for the next while to record this, and however long I spend doing it, however long is going to be in the video and on the podcast or wherever it is. But we'll get started with personal. I felt last year a lot of anxiety. I'm not going to say I was depressed, because obviously there's people that are clinically depressed. And I'm not going to compare myself to those situations, but I will say that I felt the symptoms of depression at some points. Obviously, depression for a lot of people is constant and it never goes away. I'm not going to take that away from people that are struggling with that. That's a serious, serious problem. And I have no right to say I was depressed and had depression, but I was feeling the effects that people would synonymously feel with depression. I wasn't exercising as much as I should be. I was eating really unhealthy. I gained close to 20 pounds, which for most people is like, that's not crazy. But for people that know me, I've stayed active. I've been an athlete for a while, and that's not to hype myself up or to say anything, but to gain 20 pounds as myself is personally very upsetting that I was at that weight, because I know what I was at, and shit happens. You gain weight and you don't feel good. But I was not doing well in school. I failed my first class. I was feeling the effects of coming out of COVID and realizing, oh shit, I don't have as many friends as I thought I did. And that was a really, really tough moment for me, is to realize I don't have as many people around me as I thought I did. And I kind of had to get a grasp of being with myself. I'm in a relationship. I love being in my relationship, but my relationship is a long distance relationship. And so the struggles that come with that, and the lack of constant communication and constant physical touch and whatever you want with a relationship, it has its problems with long distance. But regardless, I was losing that personal connection with people, and I felt it. I changed it up towards the end of the year, started going out and seeing people and hanging out with people, but it wasn't like they were like people I could count on. They were almost escape from time and feeling like I was losing being an extrovert. I'm not an extroverted person. I'm very much introverted, but yeah, I felt like I was compensating, and I wasn't really making friendships. I was just kind of forcing myself to get into those situations, which obviously is the right way to do it. But afterwards, I didn't feel like I had those connections that I thought I did during COVID, because COVID, obviously, for a lot of students, took 2 years out of making friendships, figuring a better study habit. I went into COVID in my second semester as a student, halfway into my second semester, and I had little friends. I had a few friends. I was just starting to make some friends. And then COVID hits, and I go all the way back to West Coast. I go to school on the East Coast, and I live West Coast. Go all the way to West Coast, and suddenly all those friends that I started making trickled off. Obviously, I had a couple that I'm still reasonably close with now, but it suddenly just like that just disappeared and never regained to the extent when I came back. I went, oh, I'm back. I'm back on campus. I'm back in school. But crap, I don't have any friends. I don't have any people to look to. I don't have people to say, hey, what are you doing on Friday? And honestly, I still don't. I have some closer people, and but I'm still not there. I don't have people that hit me up and go, hey, what are you doing? Like every week. No, I don't have that. And I'm not complaining about it. Maybe as time goes on, I figure it out, but I'm being vulnerable here and saying that I don't have that. And we'll see if I do. But for now, that's not the problem that I want to solve. Maybe it should be, but that's not what I'm working for. I am focusing on just getting rid of the cloud that you feel in your brain sometimes. And from that, maybe I get some more extrovertedness and get some more confidence. But right now, and last year, I felt a lot of cloud in my brain, a lot of brain fog, a lot of, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to get this done. And I feel like everyone feels that, especially if you're not very motivated and not being disciplined for a long time. You feel that brain fog take over, and you feel lost. You feel that you're never going to get anything done, and that you're always a failure, no matter what it is. And that's a really, really problematic thinking, right? Whatever you do, you don't think you're going to do it well. And that's how I felt. Whatever it was, I lacked so much confidence in what I was doing every single time. If it was school, if it was streaming, if it was making content, if it was hanging out with people, I second guessed myself every single time. And not only that, didn't think I was going to get it done. Didn't think I was going to get it done well. Didn't think I was going to get it done in general. And that produces that brain fog that we're talking about. And you lose a bit of your soul. I don't know how much I believe in souls and stuff, but there's a little bit of you, your essence that makes you. You lose out on that by, having that feeling and that constant failure creeping up in your mind. But this year we're focusing on trying to remove that brain fog, trying to remove those doubts, and trying to just stay disciplined. Because a good point that I've heard online, a lot of people may know Jocko Willink, the retired Navy SEAL. I was listening to his podcast today, and I'm thinking about it. He mentions the fact that sometimes he wakes up and doesn't have motivation, but when he doesn't have motivation, he has the backup of discipline. So if you don't have that core discipline instilled into you, when you don't have those days where you want to get stuff done, you're not going to get it done. And you're going to feel the effects tomorrow. And you're going to feel the effects the next day and the next day. And it constantly just produces this snowball effect where you're just making up for that one day where you weren't motivated. And because you didn't have that discipline, you didn't get it done. You didn't get whatever it was that you needed to get done. And so this is kind of a backup for those people that don't feel that they have the energy or the motivation to get stuff done. When if you're dealing with depression, and obviously there's some cases where just depression is just too much to even get out of bed. But I'm speaking to the majority of college students, university students that say they're depressed but not really depressed. Like, you're feeling depressed, but you don't have depression, because depression is nothing compared to what you're feeling. And I'm not saying that from experience. I'm saying that from experiences I've heard from other people. But we're gonna work on discipline. That's the focus. We're trying to build that discipline so that when I don't want to do something, I still get it done, because that's so important. Because the next day I'll feel it. I'll go, fuck yeah, I got it done, even though I didn't want to. And it means I don't have to work harder this next day. And so, if you're in the scene of productivity, you know the general question and the route that I'm going with. It's your daily routine. It's how you work every single day to get stuff done. And if you're not in the productivity scene, this will be great for you guys to hear. And it was really awesome for me to hear and research and learn more specifics. And although I'm recording this on the 16th, and whenever this comes out this week, I've spent the past 2 weeks doing what I was saying, learning and processing and working on myself, and researching different ways to fight these 3 areas: personal, business, and school. But daily routine. I'm going to break this down into all of the different quadrants that make your... I'm going to focus more on morning routine because it's how everyone gets their day started. But I can also maybe throw in my nightly routine at the end. But daily routine, break it into time when you wake up, sunlight, cold water exposure, reading, mantra, and exercise. So I think that's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, 6. 6 different things. So, as I said, if you're in the productivity scene, you basically know this off by heart. What everyone kind of does is similar. But there's a reason. There's a reason that everyone does this, because it is a scientifically backed daily routine that gets you going every single day. And yeah, it's those 6 different things. It is waking up, sunlight, cold water exposure, reading, mantra, and exercise. But we're going to break it down a little bit deeper. So waking up generally can be very difficult for some people, especially if you don't have motivation. But a very interesting point that I found, and I'm going to say a lot of stuff that I don't have the exact study to prove it, but if you want to find it, it's out there. There's some scientific research to back what I'm saying. But and try it yourself. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Nothing I'm saying here is going to kill you or harm your body if it doesn't work. So trust me, this is how I've found it. And if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. But this is what's worked for me. But in terms of a point that I found is that for every hour that you sleep after 12 a.m., it's actually almost equal to 2 hours before 12 a.m., which is really, really important to recognize, that you feel the effects of sleep more when you are sleeping before midnight than you do after midnight. So that's generally why you find people waking up at 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 a.m. because those people are sleeping more before 12 a.m. than they are after 12 a.m. because they almost get double the amount of sleep. Even though if they're sleeping for 6 hours, they're getting much more sleep because of that. So right now, I'm waking up at 7:30 in the morning. So for most university students, that is unreal. I'm doing that on weekends as well. I go to bed at 10:30, around 10:30 to 11, and wake up at 7:30. So I'm getting 9 to 8.5 hours of sleep, which is plenty. And what I'm going to talk about next week is this concept of loading and cycling. It's something that I'm applying, and I can't really tell you guys how much it works until I've done a full cycle. but I'll give you hints towards what I'm doing next week in terms of loading and cycling. But it is basically just a phase of building a sleep bank, which is scientifically backed, by the way. If you sleep more and then there's one day that you kind of sleep it off or have a little bit less sleep, you're obviously still going to feel the effects of tiredness, but you're not going to feel them as much as if you're only sleeping less than 7 hours before. But I'm sleeping 9 hours, but this Wednesday I take back those 9 hours and sleep for 7.5 hours, waking up at 5:30 in the morning, or 6 a.m. around then. So it's 7 to 7.5 hours, which is the best time or the minimum you should be sleeping for. By the way, I know everyone hears these 6 hours. You need 7 to 7.5 hours, 8 and 9 if you really can get that, but you need to have a minimum of 7.5. And I say 7.5, but that's 7.5 hours in like bed, because you're going to have 15 minutes, but at the time you wake up and the time that you go to bed, where it's not really sleep. And we all know it's that kind of groggy period when you're falling asleep or waking up. So those don't really count to proper sleep, and the sleep cycles, they don't move towards it. So you need to be closing your eyes and keeping them closed for 7.5 hours. And so the first thing I do when I wake up is I go and fill this big jug with fresh cold water that's been filtered overnight. Some people say all this stuff about filtered water. I'm not going to get into that. It's just tap Brita cold water that's been sitting in the fridge overnight. But cold water. And I say cold water because it's really important that it is cold. Because scientifically, if you make your body cold or ingest something cold, it actually makes your body warm up inside, right? Logically, that makes sense because it's feeling the effects of cold. It's going to want to warm up. And the way it warms up is by speeding your body up and getting more blood pumping. And so by drinking cold water, and as I'll get to a little bit later, cold water exposure, you will start to wake up quite quickly, quite naturally, quite quickly. And what I'll do is I'll take this jug, and I do have a balcony on my in my apartment, and I'll go sit on my balcony and ingest sunlight, because sunlight can naturally boost your endorphins by 50%. Again, I don't have the exact study. It's there somewhere. I tend to listen to Andrew Huberman for these kind of very small, specific scientific details. So if you guys want to fact check me, go fact check him. He's a PhD professor at Stanford, so he's got his shit down. And the other really good thing about ingesting sunlight quite quickly is that it sets that body clock. So as soon as you start feeling those rays of sunshine, and even I'm on the East Coast, so I need to spend quite a bit more time outside in the sunlight. So I spend 15 minutes. But if you're in a nice sunny state down south or wherever you are, 5 minutes is all you really need. But if you're a little cloudy or a little colder where I am, you need about 15 minutes. But it sets that body clock for 16 to 18 hours, so that when it comes around to 10 p.m. when I get ready for bed, it's going, oh, I'm tired. Like, I'm ready for bed now. It's good. Having that body clock set by sunlight is perfect. So if you can get 5 to 15 minutes with drinking cold water, and then what I do is run into the shower, and I'll set my shower knob all the way to fucking freezing, and I will do 3 minutes of cold water. I tend to spin my body around because I'm in a shower. If you have a cold plunge, lucky you. I don't have one, and I'm not planning to get one. I'm in an apartment. I have 1.5 years left here at universities. I'm not getting a fucking bathtub. Yeah. Cold shower will do it for me. And as I said before, ingesting cold and feeling cold effects on your body wakes you up quickly, gets you going. It produces in I think of the exact molecule is, but basically starts getting you pumped up. And if you want the exact one, I'm pretty sure it's adrenaline or some other ones. I'm not going to be, maybe I have them written down somewhere, but on my current notes that I'm looking at, I don't have them. But then after I have my cold shower, I go and read. And I'm not reading in bed because obviously people intuitively feel like trying to go back to bed. So I go sit on my couch and I'll read for 30 minutes to an hour, depending on what it is I'm reading. It could be a book that I'm really interested in about entrepreneurship, or just a nonfiction book about meditation or about the way the brain works. Whatever it is, 30 minutes to an hour. And I'm going to speed this up quickly. And then I start what is called my mantra session, which is two 15-minute sections where it's 15 minutes of journaling, where I have quite literally a written down journal just with like all of like the stuff that I've spent the days. So I have that, and I'll break those things into just quick emotions I'm feeling in the morning. How yesterday went for me, if something went wrong, maybe a dream, whatever it is, I'll write it down. And then I'll say, things I need to get done today, quick to-do list, 3 things I'm excited for, so I can build that excitement for the rest of the day to get those things done. Or if it's coming to me, whatever it is, just 3 good things that are happening. And then I'll have my constraints. So what do I need to hold myself accountable today? So right now I am limiting my screen time to 3 hours, which obviously is, for some people that's quite hard, but right now I'm hitting around an hour and a half, 2 hours, but having that as my maximum is a really good constraint. And I'll talk about it later with loading and cycling next week, but starting this week, I'll move down to, I think it is just constraining myself to an hour and a half on screen time. But I know you guys know this, like consuming media and consuming content for 5, 6 to 7 hours. I did it myself last year. You know you're losing time and being unproductive, and it's just making you feel like shit. Everyone knows it. Like if it's watching a stream, watching a YouTube video, spending hours on TikTok, you guys fucking know it's wasting and taking away your life. So come on, let's set some constraints here. And I'm looking at myself as well. If I'm doing the same thing in 2 years and I'm watching and consuming media for 5 to 7 hours, that's just like pure media, not any like productive or educational media for 5 to 7 hours, there's something going on. And then afterwards, I will write down my long-term goals and my short-term goals, where long-term goals tend to be 5, 6 years down the line, and then short-term goals is just this year, what I want to get done this year. And finally, for journaling, I will work on my principles that define who I am as a person and what I want to, similar to kind of constraints, but more in the sense of what 5 or 6 words would describe you best, and hopefully positive words. If you have negative words, that's a bit of a problem, but yeah, 5 to 6 words that generally describe who you are deep down as a person. And then we move on to the second session of mantra, which is meditating, which, depending again on cycling, it's 10 to 30 minutes a day. And I want to make this clear. I did this myself and I tried meditating towards the end of last year. Don't do it on an app. Don't listen to music. And try to do it in a darker space and have I have some incense. Just make it an enjoyable experience for you and make your surroundings comfortable. And whatever it is you need to make yourself feel stable and comfortable. But no music and no apps. They don't do it. They don't do what you need to do for meditation. And I myself had this connotation with meditation that it's kind of just like for monks and crazy like people that just surf all day and are vegan. No offense, but to anybody that is vegan or whatever. But I feel like everyone hippies, whatever it is. But if you're genuinely doing meditation, it's not the meditation that is generally connotated with. It's just deep reflection into you. And right now, I need that. And I want to look into myself as a person and see who I am deep down and bring up my fears, bring up my stresses, everything that's bad. That's my time for it, to sit there, deal with them, and basically stew in the shit for those 10 to 30 minutes, whatever time I need for it. I block off 30 minutes just in case. But it tends to be about 10 to 30 minutes. And during that time, I will sit and focus on my breathing. And sorry, there's a lot of loud noises going on outside, but we're going to try and keep going. I'll sit and focus on my breathing and try to think on 3 different places, like focus, like genuinely like building focus. How can I build focus? How can I reduce my stress? And actually, one thing that I came up recently with is compartmentalizing, and that as I have this before at the 3 areas that I want to work on: personal, business, and school. I try to see it in my brain as 3 different sections. So I see my left brain over here as personal growth, my middle right here as business growth, and then my right brain is school. So whatever I'm thinking about, I try to leave it on whatever side of the brain I'm using, and just kind of put it there and leave it there. Don't bring it into the other sides because they don't give a fuck. I know it sounds crazy, but it's nice to think like that. Think with just one specific. And I know I do believe in science, and I'm very much scientific, so just try it. If it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. But that's something I'm trying right now. And sometimes the meditations they're rough. I can't do it. I can't focus. I can't think. But you still meditated. You still did it. You got it done. And you'll have days like that, and some days it will just be pure blissful peace. But most days it's not going to be. And don't forget that. You're trying to make yourself as relaxed and comfortable as possible so that you can bring it out. Bring everything that's deep in you and bring it up. Get it out. That's the focus. So whatever is deep in you, get it out. You don't need it. Let's get it out. And then the next thing that I'll do after that is I'll go and exercise. And I know for some people it's really hard to get out of bed early and go exercise, but fuck, it is so much better than working out later in the afternoon and the evening. I'm going to say this for one. There's one specific reason that for me I found is very motivational to get out of bed and get up and out to the gym or whatever it is early, is that if you're a university student, you understand this problem, especially if your gym is much smaller. It can be a bit of a zoo sometimes. It can be so many people just stuffed into one room and it smells like shit. It smells awful. Or you are waiting around for an exercise, for a machine or whatever it is for 15 minutes, and it just gets ridiculous. If you just get in early, you don't have to wait. There's going to be nobody there because nobody else wants to do that. But 1 p.m., 6 p.m., whatever it is, whenever you're going, there's going to be a lot of people. And if it's your first time or you're a beginner, you don't really want to feel the effects of a lot of people staring at you. I know that people think that, but nobody honestly really cares unless you're doing the form wrong. But I get in there, and I get in there early. And another thing that I found myself doing last year was I would spend 2 hours in the gym. And the reason I'm saying that as a problem rather than a solution is that I know the 2 hours I was spending in there was not productive. It was 1 hour off and 1 hour on. And what am I doing in that hour off? I'm doing nothing. I'm maybe resting, but mostly I'm honestly on my phone, or I'm just kind of not doing anything. I'm waiting for machines. And now I am early, I'm in, and I am out. Sometimes I'll even get a full workout in 45 minutes, but I'm in, out, in, out. Get my day going. I'm getting exercise. I'm getting my heart pumping. I'm getting my heart rate up. I'm going. And so I tend to limit myself to an hour. And then if I'm doing an additional workout, like maybe cardio before, depending on what it is, the max I'll do is an hour and a half, but I am in and I am out. So I don't have to spend and lose that extra time. And right now, it's a bit extreme what I'm doing, but we're going to see how it goes. I'm doing six weightlifting days, and then 3 days that include running, high intensity training, such as sprints, and I forget what the bike is. There's a hard working bike. I feel like if you know the gym, you know what I'm talking about. But there's a bike that you can work on. So 3 days of including weightlifting. So 6 days of weight training, 3 days of cardio and cardiovascular exercise. And then the last day is an active recovery. I'm not taking that day off. I told you, no rest days. It's an active recovery. So that, I am still on, but I am taking it slower. So I'll go for a hike, I'll go for a walk, whatever it is. But I'm keeping my body moving and kind of getting my heart rate up, but not too much. But I'm still moving, still getting going. And then I'll come back and I'll get my day started. That is generally how most days go right now. Some days I can't get the exercise in because I have classes at 9:30, 10:30. I don't have time to go and get the exercise in, but I promise you, as soon as I finish that class, I'm going straight to the gym because I don't want to spend, and I want to get that gym session in, and I want to get that exercise in as soon as possible. So I'm not recommending a specific weight training program. I'm just telling you what I'm doing because I'm not going to cater for you guys. You guys can figure out what's best for you, but I'm telling you what I'm doing. But yeah, that kind of wraps up personal. Kind of wraps up what I'm doing to build my daily routine. And nightly routine quickly is just putting on red light because red light can produce. It looks like I'm getting freaky every night, but I'm not. I'm putting it on because it produces the most melatonin. It is the color that produces the most melatonin. So if you have red light going on around you, it actually can make you more sleepy. And I turn off all the lights like 30 to 45 minutes before I'm about to sleep, so my eyes get adjusted and I start getting a little bit sleepy. And then I'll have a non-caffeinated tea to kind of do the opposite of what drinking the cold water is in the morning, to make my body cool down, because you want your body to cool down as you sleep and as you start to rest. So I drink a hot tea to force my body to cool down to counteract the hot tea. But yeah, that's kind of how personal is right now, and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling energetic. I had a long workout yesterday. It was supposed to be my active recovery, so I'm feeling a little bit of the effects today. I still went and did my gym session today, so it's still important despite the fact that I'm feeling a little sick. And that's why I've been drinking so much water. I'm going to continue to drink water throughout this. That I still got it done, and that's the most important thing. And no matter how light it was today for me, I didn't do as much as I was planning to, but I got it done. That's all that matters. But moving into business, and when I say business, I mean I don't generally want to constrict my time from a 9 to 5. I might do for the next 3 years as I come out of university, but generally I am not going to see, I don't see myself being controlled by a 9 to 5. I see myself being a business owner and seeing myself running a company. And I get that. Some people want that average kind of moderate lifestyle of, you know, clock in at 9, clock out at 5. But I don't think that fits me, and I want to do whatever I can to get out of that. I'm not going to do any of this rat race shit or the matrix shit. That's not in my realm. That's not my space. And I promise you it never will be. I'm not getting conflicted by those people. I'm not going to name names or name people or name influencers that talk about that, but that's not the direction I go with. And if you feel similar, or if you're in the opposite direction and you feel like that, I'm still going to speak to you and still explain what I'm doing and working towards. But I don't want to be constricted by a 9 to 5. I want to own a business, and I want to do it early because I want to enjoy the fruits of my labor, and I want to do it when I'm young and not old as fuck. No offense, but I'm doing it. I have this goal that I have, and it's a high goal, but if you don't have high goals, you're never gonna have the strive to get them done. But they are 1 mil by 30, 10 mil by 40, 100 mil by 50. And obviously I don't want to chase, I'm not chasing money, but that's still a monetary goal that I'm putting myself in. And if I'm being honest with my work ethic and how I feel, I think it's a pretty, I'm gonna say reasonable. It's achievable for me. I think it is, and I will do everything in my power to achieve it, if not more. That's the plan. But anyways, we're gonna focus on it. And if you guys aren't interested in building a business, you can skip on ahead and go to school, or you can get off now. It's up to you. But if you generally don't feel like working that 9 to 5 or working that boring job you're doing is for you, then stick around, because I think this could be beneficial for a lot of people, and has been for me. I've already learned a lot, and it's not even business, it's just work ethic. What can you get done? And from what I found. But yeah, anyways, we're getting started. So I think the best way to start this is with a quote that I found. I forget who it was. I'm so sorry. But it was a really awesome quote, and it goes, 90% of success can be boiled down to consistently doing the obvious thing for an uncommonly long period of time without convincing yourself that you're smarter than you are. Which is it's just so important to realize that those people that you see out there making fuckloads of money and building shit and doing whatever it is they want, they were able to do that because they did the obvious thing for an uncommonly long period of time. And that brings up another quote and another like rhetoric that I have, and it comes from Mr. Beast. Obviously, Mr. Beast is the biggest YouTuber, and he is on his grind. And I remember hearing in a podcast, he said that you are crazy until you become successful. When those people start saying that you are hardworking, you're crazy until you're hardworking. Basically, I'm butchering it, but in the sense that whatever you're doing, people are going to think you're being crazy for doing it. And maybe that's how some people might see me now and go, the fuck is this kid doing? He's 21. He's in university. He should be going out every night. I don't feel that way. I don't want to do that. I have goals for myself, and I want to get them done. And I'll do the obvious thing for an uncommonly period of time to achieve that success, if that's what it takes. But then the last point that was within it is without convincing yourself that you're smarter than you are. So basically just not building an ego. You do the hard work and not forget where you started, and not forget what level you are at, because chances are you're still at level 1. I think I'll feel this way. I think I'll feel this way in that you're level 1 until you're level 100. There's no in between. And even when you're at level 100, you probably won't even realize you're at level 100 and still think you're at level 1. So there's no, like I said earlier, there's no level 2. There's no level 2. There is just getting it done. And you build it and you stack it, whatever it is. And I'm trying to read this other note that I have here. It says, focus on something that interests you and never think that you can't achieve something. And I'm coming back when I say that to a point that I saw in a book that I was reading called The Millionaire Fastlane. And I know this all sounds a bit like the guru bullshit, but there's a lot of really important concepts and ideologies that come from entrepreneur books. You just need to find the right ones. And for me, I'm reading I'm reading the Millionaire Fastlane right now. I've enjoyed it. I am almost 3/4 through it, and hopefully should be done by the end of the week. But they say that if you do something you love, it tends to not become something. It just, you lose that love. It goes from love to suffering, and if you can get past suffering, it becomes passion. And so I'm not saying that I want to do something I love. I'm doing something that interests me, that could make me suffer and then become my passion. I honestly don't feel like I love a lot of stuff. So I'm in a good space where I can find stuff that interests me and I can work towards achieving something that I never thought I could. And another really important point that I saw in this book is that never think that you can't achieve something, because the people that did achieve similar feats of success were never stopped by a lack of belief. And that's just so, I don't know if that hits you guys, but it hits me. Because those people out there that are ultra successful and got whatever they want done, yeah, they weren't stopped by thinking, yeah, I'm not getting this done. I can't. I quit. They just did it. Every single day they worked towards getting it done. Yeah. And never think that you can't do something or that you're not doing the right thing. Because whatever it is you're doing, as long as you do it 1% better than you did yesterday, and I know that's a very common phrase, that do something and be 1% better than you were yesterday. But it's, if you actually think about it, it makes sense, right? Just a little bit better than yesterday is a little bit better than 2 days ago, is a lot better than 2 weeks ago, and is so much better than a month ago. And it's exponential. Actually, technically it's linear. I'm sorry. Or is it? No, it's exponential. Sorry. I'm trying to think. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I think it is exponential. It's like compounding. You're not an individual amount better, you are a percent better. So I think it is exponential. Sorry, that's my mathematical brain going off. But I'm gonna give you guys an insight to what I want to do and what I'm focusing on, because I think that could kind of give an insight to how I'll focus and how I'll grow myself. Oh my god, we've been going for 55 minutes. I thought we were only at like 30 minutes or 20 minutes, but damn. But an insight to myself and what I'm focusing on is that I am very interested in web development and creating websites and using HTML and CSS. I'm not good at it, but I like the idea of it. So I'm right now learning to code HTML and CSS, and then JavaScript and all those different programs that will help me create websites. I have a bit of background with Python and coding before, not a whole ton, but I'm getting better at it. And that's the focus. But another thing that really interests me and has before ChatGPT, I will say this. I have been a fan of AI and have been interested in AI for years. But the thing I want to focus on is creating my own AI, and I'm not going to get too into it because I'm not that deep into it yet, but I have some ideas. And I'm very interested to see how I'm going to function those and build it into what could be a business in the future. So I don't want to give too much away just in case, in case it becomes my big break or whatever. But I'm going to be working and have been working every day to build the tools and whatever is necessary to basically create a functioning business in web development. That's what I want to do. And I think that would be hopefully very successful. Another point that I'm thinking about from the millionaire fast line is that, and I have seen around in the productivity scene for a little bit, is that to make millions, you need to impact millions. And I'm going to say that again. To make millions, you need to impact millions. So building a business where your scale is not at a millions and with an impacting 1 million people likely is not going to make you a whole crap ton of money. And I'm not all about making money, but obviously making money is a plus. And building success comes from impacting as many people as physically possible. And it's one of the reasons that I want to do this podcast. Being successful is doing as much of an impact as physically possible. And so that comes with making a website, making it and scaling it as much as possible to impact those people. But I'm going to come back a bit from web development and what I'm doing to discuss a really important thing that I saw online about investing into what is an entrepreneur degree. And I'm gonna say this. I know that this sounds guru, and it sounds. I'm gonna use the sense of guru for the rest of the podcast and for future podcasts in the sense of we don't want to be guru. I don't want to be guru. Everyone knows what I mean. It's an internet guru. I'm not gonna be that, and I don't want to be. And I know entrepreneur degree sounds guru. I get it, but there are a lot of fundamental skills that you need as what I want to be as a business owner and what I want to do in the future. And I have found the idea that doing and learning as much as you can will help you. And this could be through courses, coaching, mentorships, workshops, seminars, one-on-one coaching, whatever it is. I think everyone should really be investing into trying to build their skills, entrepreneurship skills, whatever. Like, even if you're doing a 9 to 5, I still think, having that business mindset is still so important. And I'm kind of gonna move away from the constant investing that I have into the markets to take a little bit of that money and invest it into those courses, those coaches, those mentorships, whatever it is, and invest into my entrepreneurship degree because I don't want to be spending my compounded money when I'm 60. I want to be spending my money when I'm 30, when I'm 40, when I'm younger. So taking a step back from compounding, from those people that do know investing, DCAing, dollar cost averaging, and investing monthly, whatever it is. I'm still investing. I'd like to clarify that. I'm not taking it all out, but I'm taking maybe a 25% cut on how much I'm investing monthly and weekly and putting into investing into my skills and what I want to learn because I'm interested. And when I gather some wealth, I will use that wealth to create cash, but I don't want to use my cash to create wealth, if that makes sense. In the sense of when I have wealth, I'll invest it to create that cash to use that expenditure. But I'm not going to use constant penny saving to make myself wealthy, whatever it is. Because it's not realistically, it's not going to work as well as learning and becoming a better businessman and making a business and growing a business from start. There's so much more potential than than penny pinching and investing every month, which is still important to do, but I just need to scale how much my income is. I shouldn't be saving more. I should be increasing my income, and that comes from learning how to create a business and learning how to improve my income and making more money. But I say that with obviously the caveat. Most people ask, how do you find these courses? How do you find all these different teachers and coaching? And a way that I thought about it and have saw as a good idea online is that finding those influencers and finding those teachers online and coaches that have free content, free media, and just consuming as much of that as possible, and then going, do I like this person? Do I like what they're saying? Do I like their ideologies? And realizing, no, I don't. Okay, move away from that person. Put them on the side. Write it down. Avoid this person. I didn't like what they were teaching. And try to stay with a very open mind, but also closed off in the same sense. In that, know what your boundaries are, but know that there's a lot of the world that you don't know, but you have a boundary. And that's some kind of rhetoric and some kind of thinking, maybe like Matrix, and try and get out of the Matrix and trying to get out of the rat race. And those kind of terms that you want to avoid that scene and set that boundary. But if you like their free content, the likelihood is that paid content is going to be as good, if not even better. And you want to consume as much information as you can and investing that money into people that you have made not a connection with, but have been around and watched and researched and listened to, and saying, I like this stuff. You know what? I'll buy that course. I'll buy whatever it is, as long as it's within your budget for your entrepreneurship degree. So just stay smart in this scene, because there's a lot of fuckers out there that are trying to screw you. And people obviously know those people. But that kind of wraps up business. That kind of, for now, that's all I have in terms of business. And I'm gonna move on to school, because I'm not lacking in school. Just because I'm working on building project work and building a business and working on myself, I'm still in school. But I say this in the way I'm doing right now, what I'm working on, I can take more time out of, because I've reduced the number of courses I'm taking. I am almost done with my degree, but I have enough courses that I have to do this semester and the next semester. But I don't really want to graduate at Christmas time. I want to graduate at the proper time in April, May, whatever it is. So I'm kind of just spreading all of the courses I have left over the next 3 semesters. So right now I'm only taking 4 courses, and then next semester, the next 2 semesters, I'm only taking 3 courses a semester. So I have the time, I have the available time to work on this, but obviously it is still important for me. And I do this every semester, and I find like everyone does this every semester, but they don't really apply it. They look up videos on how to do better in classes, focus better notes, and whatever it is. But I have found from my research, there's a few tips that you can take and apply, and genuinely apply. To do it now, because it's still the start of the semester, and doing this and I'm hoping will help me with my courses, and hoping to get me better grades. So the first point is to scope out the subject. And I say that, and a lot of people instantly go, yeah, I looked at the syllabus, I looked at the outline. But I say this in a sense that there's a much more strategic way to do it. And for the people listening that don't really care about school, guys, come on. This is like, if you just put in a little bit of energy every day, it's going to take away that stress you have later down towards midterms, towards finals. Just doing it every day is just so much easier. Just doing like an hour, 2 hours, and taking that time away from your phone and just doing extra work will help you so much more down the line. So starting with scoping the subject. Instead of just going through the course outline and going through the syllabus, actually look into the textbook and actually look into the syllabus and take not only the topics, have a brief little look around, see what's going on, and a really cool way of doing this is by mind mapping it. And I suggest for people that have iPads or any form of tablet. I'm not sure any form of tablet. I'm saying this because I have an iPad. And sorry, I'm a little, as I said, a little bit sick. But my suggestion is to use MindNode. I've just recently started using it. And it's a really cool mind mapping app. And it just makes everything so much easier. So try using MindNode. Scope out what you're doing for class. And figure out how everything connects. And I'm confident. I haven't applied this, but I'm confident it will just make my life easier and make everything just connect so much better, more fluidity. But yeah, and I'm just gonna quickly go through this because we're over an hour and I didn't really want to get to an hour. But I've enjoyed this. I'm gonna say I've really enjoyed this, and it's been so much fun to just get everything I've been thinking about for the past week just out. But I'm gonna quickly go through these points. So I did this last semester and it was really helpful for me. And again, a lot of people say this, but they don't apply it. When you're studying, focus on your weaknesses. Write them down while you're going through like practice problems or writing notes. Write down, hey, I don't really understand this concept, but I'm gonna get back to it. And when I say get back to it, I mean at the end of the session, come back to them and spend however long you need to understand it. Because it is so much more important that you understand the content and understand what's going on in the subject than doing as many practice problems as possible. I say this from so much personal experience. I mean this. Doing a lot of practice problems is really helpful, yes. But if you're doing practice problems and not understanding what's going on, you're not really studying. You're just being unproductive. And you're being almost like a toxic productivity. You're thinking what you're doing is productive, but it's really not. You're losing sense of what's going on, and you're thinking, yeah, I understand this because I did a practice problem on it. And then you come back to it and go, wait, I don't even know what's happening here. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. So make sure you understand the content. And I'm like really trying to dig this in. Like, understand the content first and come back to those weaknesses. And you don't want to spend all your time when you're going through stuff to work on those weaknesses. So that's why I say write them down, come back to them at the end of the session, and just slowly just crank them out, get it done. Because then you'll feel so much more confident later on. And an actual quick tip to reduce procrastination when it comes to studying. I found a lot of people do this. They map out what subjects, like specific subjects of a course they're going to do for like the next 2 weeks, maybe when you're studying for finals or for midterms. And you specifically say, I'm going to study this topic, this subject on this day. And you specifically say you're going to do it. It's not really that helpful to say you're doing that topic. Just write down at the start of your session, hey, I want to get this done, I want to get this done, I want to get this done. Just do a quick to-do list. Because I found myself when I did that I put down the topic every day, I just ended up pushing it back. I ended up getting it and moving it closer towards the deadline and getting more stressed out about it. So forcing yourself to get it done on the day by doing a to-do list is so much better, so much more productive. And honestly, something I found for myself is not doing as many detailed notes as well has been really effective. And I mean that in the sense that whenever I'm in lecture or going through a textbook and I'm writing notes, I don't think they're good notes. I honestly rarely come back to those notes because I write them down and forget about them. And it's so, so bad that I do that. And a lot of other people probably do that as well. They write down the lecture notes and think that that's productive and they're going to come back to it and like, hey, I understood it by going to the lecture. It doesn't work like that. You need to make a summary. If you're doing notes, sure. For me, I have to take notes because it's it's a lot of formulas for me because I'm in engineering. It's a lot of math. I have to write it down. But I'm going to this semester after every lecture, and it's very quick. When I come back home, summarize what happened and make a little note, whatever it is. Say, this is what happened in this lecture. This is the topic that I was working on. And even when you're going through textbooks as well, do the same thing. Just write down little notes and little bits and pieces and summarize what happened in the lecture so you don't forget about it. Because otherwise you're just going to move ahead thinking you understood what was happening, but don't. And that's really, really, really bad. And lastly, I'm going to leave this here. As more of a suggestion. I can't say that I do it, but I'll explain what I do in this sense to create the same effect. As somebody that streams and as somebody that plays video games and as somebody that specifically I have a video about being a productive gamer. It is coming out or is out right now. I don't know. But as somebody that sets, I'm going to say I set a time for how long I'm playing video games, and you guys should too. But more on this, the effect of playing video games or having like a home desktop like I do, and having a PC setup and having it, especially in my room. Everyone knows that there's obviously the home and workspace connection there, and that you guys don't want to do work in your bedroom. You see your bed behind you, and you go, oh, "Fuck, I want to go lay in my bed." I don't want to do work, but you still need to get it done. And so separating the difference between workspace and home space is really important. And I do that by this is really specific, but I think it can be it's actually really helpful. Like as kind of just like a mental note in that to separate my workspace and my home space, because I have my PC and all my computers set up in my bed and I can't move it. I've tried to. There's not enough space anywhere else in the apartment, and I don't want to get into my roommate's space as well. I have different colors for my lights in the back, around my bed, under my desk, and on my PC. One for home and gaming and whatever it is, just non-work, and one for work. So I like the blue for work. I set when I'm streaming or playing video games or just not doing work, I set it to orange. And so this blue light comes on automatically at 8 a.m. and stays on until around 8 p.m., which I'm coming up to quite closely actually. I need to, again, as I said, hurry this up. But this should be the last point, and then we're gonna wrap up. But separating that by having colors, just as a mental note that at 8 p.m. clocking out, I'm done for the day. I did all my work, I got shit done, but I'm getting tired and I'm not gonna effectively work after that. So, but at 8 a.m., that's when I start work. That's when my brain is on. And blue just is a really like vibrant in your eyes color, but orange and red, as I said before, starts that sleep and starts that rest period. And having that is really important. But also, really, really small detail is I have 2 different wallpapers that I use. So during the day, I have a wallpaper, and I have 3 monitors. So all the wallpapers that I have here, I have one whole set for work and for school, for that, and to keep focused, as one wallpaper. And then around 8 p.m. or whatever time it is when I start streaming or taking a bit of a break, I swap wallpapers. So it's a mental note to me, hey, the day is done. You're not getting work done. But when it's on, I'm on and I'm focused, and I'm not I'm not supposed to be relaxed. And that kind of wraps it up. Sorry, I got a little sniffly towards the end of the podcast, but that wraps up everything. We went through school, we went through business, we went through personal, and we gave a bit of an intro to who I am and what I want to do, and hopefully what you guys can take from this. So again, I'm not catering to audience, and I'm not doing this for you guys. This is for me, and I'm telling you what I'm doing. If you want to take it, take it. Don't want to take it, don't take it. But for the people that are coming from my stream and coming from wherever, friends, family, whatever it is, I push the idea to you. If you want to do it, and that's the main thing. That's the main idea that I have right now. If you want to do it, do it, and I want to do it, so I'm doing it. I know it sounds tacky and whatever, but yeah, I think we're gonna leave it right here. I appreciate anybody listening to this. It's my first episode, and I hope I did okay. And if anybody did listen to it, I hope you guys enjoyed. But again, I don't care if this gets 0 views. I don't care how many people listen to this. I will listen to this, and I'll listen to it down in the line. But yeah, this is for me, not for anybody else. And yeah, let's leave it here. I will be back next week doing the same exact thing, telling my story and what I've learned the past week. So let's hope I have a productive week, and hope I have some interesting shit to tell you guys next week. And I will see you guys. Well, I'm saying this like a stream. It's not a stream. It's a podcast. Yeah, that's it. Okay, wrapping up. Bye bye. Hope you guys have a really productive and good week. Yeah, bye.